Well, good morning. This week's Monday meditation as we continue to read through Ephesians. We're now in Ephesians chapter 5. We are well into what you might call the practical section of this letter. And Paul is really going to challenge us in our reading today. So I hope it is a challenge to you and an encouragement to you as you begin your week. Ephesians chapter 5, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 21. Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. But sexual immorality and all impurity or covetousness must not even be named among you, as is proper among saints. Let there be no filthiness, nor foolish talk, nor crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. For you may be sure of this, that everyone who is sexually immoral or impure, or who is covetous, that is an idolater, has no inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not become partners with them. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. For the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. And try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. For it is shameful even to speak of the things that they do in secret. But when anything is exposed by the light, it becomes visible. For anything that becomes visible is light. Therefore it says, Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery, but be filled with the Spirit, addressing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart, giving thanks always and for everything to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ. I think the big takeaway from these 21 verses this morning is that as a Christian, there can be no negotiating with sin. Paul is challenging the Ephesians, and he's challenging us to live lives that are pure and above reproach, to have nothing to do with sin, not even to allow it to kind of hover in our presence. Sometimes it's very easy for us to compromise on the edges, and Paul is saying for a follower of Christ, there can be no compromise. He tells us to have nothing to do with the works of darkness. Why? Because we're in the light now. And so we should walk as children of the light. He tells us to look carefully how we walk. This idea of being very diligent, very focused on our spiritual life is a challenge to us, because it's easy to slip into kind of a just whatever happens kind of casual approach to walking with the Lord. And we are challenged to take it serious. And so this week, let me encourage you, let me challenge you, take your walk with the Lord serious. Don't allow sin, don't allow the works of darkness anywhere near you. Living in a way as an imitator of God, following the Lord. Hope you have a great week. God bless.